Alright, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. I've boiled down 4 core reasons why your ads aren't working. And this isn't just theory or opinion. This is data from well over $1 million of ad spend on my own offers, services, coaching, consulting, etc. And then helping my clients spend millions upon millions of dollars. I can't even track that number. And they've generated tens upon tens of millions, maybe even $100 million on their ads, okay? And what I want to do is dive into 4 super simple reasons. So I've kind of broke this into 4 reasons here. And I kind of dive into each. And what you could do is you could watch this whole video, and then if you're currently running ads, you can kind of just ask, am I doing these things or am I not? And if I am, then I should probably just quit business because I suck. But if you're not doing them, then you should probably start doing them, and then you can start getting better results with your advertising, okay? It's super straightforward stuff. I mean, it's really very scientific. It's one of these things where people overcomplicate ads like crazy. And one of the most common things that I see is people who have an organic offer that's going really, really well, and they try to tack ads onto it. That's kind of tough to do. So what I want you to understand is how this whole system fits together, and if you watch my whole channel and you watch all my videos, you'll kind of get an understanding of how it all works together. And that's really what I want to give you, is a very detailed look at 4 key components that I consider when I'm consulting one of my clients' brands. For example, my client who just joined our Kaizen Mastermind group went from 20 grand a month to 100 grand a month in literally less than 3 weeks of turning his ads on that I consulted him on, okay? So it's very, very predictable when you figure out these inner working pieces. And by the way, he's at I think 8 or 9x return on cash payments. So not revenue, not to be paid, cash payments. So he's extremely profitable, okay? So let's talk about this. This is making ads work, all right? So there's 4 things. And I'm going to dig into each of these throughout this video and break them apart and help make sure that you understand them so that you can, go make a lot more money with your advertising, serve a lot more clients, and grow your business. So the first is what's called the belief ladder. I'll tell you what this is, how it works. If you've already heard of something like this before, the way that I do it's very different, and the way that my clients do it's very different, and you're going to want to stick around and hear about this concept of belief ladder. And if you haven't heard about this is going to blow your mind. All right, this alone is probably... this probably deserves its own whole video, okay? The next, I'm going to talk about something called cold friendly. And what cold friendly means is really structuring the deliverables, the messaging, the format of your offers to be what we call cold friendly. This is something that I did in one of my businesses. So we've been growing a brand new business, and I can tell you a bit about that when we get to this point. But basically, we changed something about the way that we communicate the offer, and all of a sudden, our sales have exploded, okay? And I'll talk about that a little bit. So how to actually make an offer that's not necessarily brand driven, meaning they buy because of who you are, but they buy because it truly feels like a no-brainer, okay? And it gives you the opportunity to then over-deliver on the other side and then secure the relationship, okay? So next is what I have historically called, I haven't heard anybody call it this necessarily, since consulting my clients for the longest time, this is what I call it. I call it the human element. You can see human, I just didn't have the space to, with this big font or whatever, but human. So human element. And this is basically every funnel that works has some component of person-to-person conversation, whether it's over the DM, settings, Zoom calls, etc. And I want to talk about how you can scale the human element so that you can create massive conversions at scale, okay? What a lot of people want to do is they want to build an automated funnel. These can work, don't get me wrong. They can work. I've launched funnels that turn $1 into $2 and they scale somewhat well, but where you really make big money, where you can put a couple $1 million in the bank, is with scaling the human component of your funnels, okay? And it's also where you can have the best client relationships, the best LTV, charge the most, have the most transformations. In general, I just think it's the best way to go, okay? A lot of people, they want to have a funnel where it's just them and data and a funnel. But if you can introduce people at certain stages in the process, setters, closers, client relationship managers, etc., that's where you can really create just an epic system. And then I want to talk about the two different types of coaching sales, okay? Brand sales versus case sales, or another way that we can put this that a good friend of mine calls it is trust sales versus truth sales, okay? And this is basically a big mindset thing. This is really a huge mindset thing. And in this, I'm going to talk about as well talk about unique mechanisms. And if you've never heard of any of this stuff, you really should stick around for this video because this is going to make you extremely profitable with your advertising. Okay, so for example, brand, a really unique mechanism needs to go to case. Brand would be like if you follow a big influencer online and they have a program, right? And what they teach might not necessarily be unique, but they've gotten results with it, or others have gotten results with it, and just because there's a lot of trust, you buy the thing, right? Whereas case is more, this is what really, really, really scales. Because brand takes a lot of time to scale. And that's by nature, that's how it's supposed to be. Trust takes time. But truth enables you to cut trust. Cut through. Almost like a lawyer making a case for your system or your mechanism or your strategy or your process. You're trying to make a case for your specific way of doing things. Okay? So that you can get the buy. Because if you get the buy in, let me just go ahead and erase this top here. I'm going to use this to kind of just, I know it's gross, I'm doing it with my fingers, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter that much, I guess. If you can, there's really a couple stages you walk a prospect down in order to buy, right? If they first believe in your mechanism, then they believe in you, then they believe in your program, in order, that's how you get a conversion. So ads is basically just walking people down this process, okay? So an ad would say something like, hey, if you're this group of people trying to achieve this outcome, I want to show you a new and better way of doing it. Come download my PDF, or come watch my training video, or come pick up this $7 ebook, or whatever. I'm going to show you this mechanism. You kind of sell them the mechanism and that thing, and then along the way, you get them to believe in you, right? And then you encourage them to book a call, and that's when you explain the program, and then they buy, right? So, but a lot of people don't seem to understand the process, and that brings me to the first section here, which is the belief ladder, okay? So the best example that I've heard, and this is a great way of explaining this, is if you look at ClickFunnels, like Russell Brunson in ClickFunnels, when he was running tens of thousands of dollars a day in ads to his webinars to sell ClickFunnels, he wasn't in his ads saying ClickFunnels. Then this is how you create an extremely scalable process. You can go right into your market and just say, hey, I have something to offer. Come learn about my offer. That would be called a direct ad, right? A direct offer ad. So you have direct offer ad, which are easier to get started with, but harder to do if you don't have an offer that just feels like a no-brainer for people, which most people don't. And then there's indirect ads. And this applies to indirect ads. The belief ladder is how you make indirect ads work, which is where you kind of start off with some curiosity, and then you get them to think the way you need them to think in order to buy what you want them to buy. So for example, Russell Brunson's ads would say something like, hey, if you currently have a website, ditch it. It's not making you money. It's not profiting you. How often is it that you have a $10,000 day through your website, right? So he's doing what's called an opportunity switch, saying, website doesn't work. I want to show you a new thing instead. So the first belief is curiosity, getting people curious. The next thing is he sells them on the concept of funnels. So he spends, in like a 3-hour webinar, he spends the first hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, selling people on the concept of funnels before he even tells people about ClickFunnels. So what a lot of people will do right now in marketing, and this is very common especially because like the Alex Hormozi influence on the industry, which is not a bad influence. I think he's made a lot of people a lot of money, but the direct offer ads are kind of like a low effort way of getting into the market, and they sort of work. I mean, they do work, but it forces you to build your business completely differently. You have to have like hard guarantees, crazy contracts, stuff like that, and all this sort of stuff because people just don't trust you, right? Whereas if you walk people up a belief ladder, you get them exploring a new means of achieving an outcome that's important and valuable to them, or a new way of solving a pain that has been painful for them for a long time, and then you sell them on your mechanism. So the mechanism behind ClickFunnels was funnels. So Brunson would spend an hour and a half, 2 hours getting you to believe in funnels. And so he would show you like, here's the data, here's the science. We sent $100,000 of ads to a website page. We sent $100,000 to a funnel. Website page brought us back $20,000. The funnel brought us back $500,000. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? And he'd be like, we started 15 new businesses, and we gave each a website, and we gave a funnel. Stuff like that. And he would just make a case. So he'd make it irrefutably believable that funnels were going to help people get to the next step. And if people believed in funnels, then the next logical step was to get ClickFunnels. So how does this apply to your offer? Let's think about this for a sec. What you need to think about with your offer, and if you're going to run ads at scale especially, you need to think about the leading belief that you need people to believe in order to believe that you are the person they need to work with, or that your service or your product or whatever, your program, is what they need to buy. And so what a lot of people do is they say, like, if they're new to ads, what they'll do is like, hey, my name is Jack, and I have spent the last 5 years helping lawyers get more clients, and I've done this and this, and like they don't believe you. Not yet. They first need to be sold on your mechanism. So if you're helping lawyers get more law clients, I would say something like, lawyers, stop relying on billboard ads and LinkedIn referrals to get clients. These are old and outdated methods. There's a new and better way to get clients, and it's called, local hacking. Call it something. And then be like, I've got a resource that'll teach you what local hacking is. Come check it out. I'll show you an example of, you don't even say my client. Wouldn't even say my client. I'll show you an example of somebody who used local hacking to get $1 million in brand new business done in less than 6 months of starting. This is just me spitballing, right? Come check it out. I'll show you. Then you sell them what local hacking is. They're like, oh man, local hacking is freaking rocks. And then you sell them on you and how you kind of discovered local hacking and stuff, and help them understand who you are. Because they gotta, there's no such thing as pure B2B or pure B2C. Like business to business or business to consumer. It's all person to person. People want to know who the person is behind it, right? This is why Elon Musk is so popular, and he literally bought Twitter. He understands the value of having a lot of audience, right? So you sell them on you a little bit. Talk about your family, talk about your background, talk about your values, talk a little bit of that stuff. Just build a little bit of like, oh, this person's kind of like me a little bit. And then once they're sold on your mechanism and they're sold on you a little bit, just a little bit of that, don't need a lot. That's when you tell them how your program can help install the mechanism, right? So your program or your product needs to install the mechanism. So sell them the mechanism first, then you say, here's how I can install the mechanism. So the cool thing about going into cold markets by saying, hey, I've got this better way of doing it, is it gets their defense out of the way. It gets them willing to listen to what you have to say and be like, oh, there's a better way of doing this? That's cool. It sounds legit. If you give it a legitimate sounding name, it feels real, legitimate. Like this is like the client who I mentioned at the beginning of this video. He helps software engineers get a software job, basically. And he came to me and he didn't really have a clearly defined mechanism. And this is a guy who I took from 20 grand a month to he's doing 6-figure months now, like less than 3 weeks into launching his ads. And he came to me and his mechanism was, there wasn't a name. It was like, here's the 6-step process. First, you got to apply to these jobs this way. Fix your resume like this, and then you have to, use data to find the opportunities like this. And it was he explained too much, but it didn't inspire. So when you're explaining your mechanism needs to be inspiring, motivating. It needs to drive hope, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this is a way better way of getting there. Like I want this better way. Because people don't believe you. Like if my client had started with, hey, my name is Alex and I help people get software jobs. It's like, that might work. But instead, we came up with something called, what do we call it? Software apprenticeship, or software apprenticing. And what that means is, the way that we explained it, the way that we kind of designed it together was, in every other trade for humankind, the best way into the industry is to apprentice under somebody. And everybody can agree on that. So that's the cool thing about when you sell a mechanism. When you're walking people up a belief ladder, you can't say anything that's like a kind of a bit of a stretch of truth. They have to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I agree with you. It's like every trade, and software engineering is just a trade. Every trade, if you're going to succeed, it's because, you mentored under somebody. You apprenticed under somebody who is succeeding. That's been every trade for humankind since the beginning of humankind. So why have we thrown that out? Well, I'm going to show you how to apprentice and how it's inevitably going to get you a job, right? So way simpler mechanism, way more believable, right? And it feels real. You know, a mechanism can't be your 7-step, to success ladder. Like it has to be like a real thing. This is where you got to use some creative energy, and a lot of people really struggle with this because they're so used to coaching it and bridging the gap from here where you've been delivering it and you got the nuance of delivery to all the way over here to just make it sound super simple, pill-sized, real. Like that can be a bit of a leap, right? And quite frankly, that's where a guy like myself can really, really help. Is because I don't have this nuance here. I just have what ads work, right? So I hope that this belief ladder concept makes sense. If you have any questions about it, leave a comment and I'm happy to make another video about it. But basically, in order for ads to work, you have to see the ads as just sending energy down a system. And at junctions of that system, you're installing beliefs that lead them to making their own decision that they want to work with you. And if the primary thing that's going to drive whether they decide to work with you or not is the legitimacy of your mechanism, how inspiring it feels, how much hope it gives them, and I forget what I wrote as the M here to be completely honest. But it needs to be inspiring, hopeful, new, unique, different, better. It needs to have all kinds of benefits, and it needs to be tied to real things, right? Like with our business, one of our other businesses, Kingdom Content Creator Academy, the reason why people believe in the mechanism, it's like everybody's making content. Every business has content. So to repurpose the content, there's tons of businesses that would pay for that. Very, very easy to believe in that. You know what I mean? Okay. Now, that's kind of that. So let's move into cold friendly. And what I'm talking about here, let's move into cold friendly. So this one's a little more simple to explain and probably will take less time to explain. But basically what I've noticed is a lot of people, they have an offer that they've sold organically for a long time and they're trying to find a way to sell it through ads. And I'll be honest, you can do that. That does work. Like you can do that. You just have to figure out what you've been saying organically and just turn that into a process, a system that you walk people down. So it can work. But when I say cold friendly, the main thing I'm talking about is your offer. And if your offer is just a proximity offer, meaning, hey, I will work with you, that has a harder time working than including something tangible. So this is something that we did recently in my other business. And in my other business, what we did is we said, you know what? You really need 2 team members in order for this business to work. You need an editor and you need a prospector. So what if we just raise the price a little bit just to kind of make it more worth the time? And so we raised the price by like 30, 40% or so. And we started sourcing the prospectors and editors. If somebody pays it outright, we'll literally give you a prospector and an editor. Prospector helps you find clients. We've trained them to go out and search for clients on your behalf. And then the editor handles the client work. So literally all you have to do is just finalize the deal. You're going to get a ton of messages from interested people because pretty much every business that makes content needs their content repurposed. And now that we have something that feels tangible, that's the cool thing about software is it's very tangible. So you don't have to think about this so much if you're like a software product because it's kind of tangible. All you got to do is just demonstrate the product. But people are very averse to coaching. They don't like you're a stranger, you know what I mean? They don't want you to tell them what to do, you know what I mean? So what you do is you win their trust by delivering a tangible, and then once you deliver the tangible, then you say, hey, you know what, I've got some feedback, do this, and then they're willing to receive your coaching. So cold-friendly offers are usually things where you have a tangible component. There's something you actually physically give them. Because especially right now in like 2025, pretty much everybody dogs on the coaching industry. And for good reason, because honestly, most coaches suck. And most coaches don't get results, and they don't care that they're just getting paid to talk. They love that they don't have to care about results and they can still make money. Like that's a lot of the industry. A lot of people in their heart of hearts do not care that they don't get results. They just want to make a bunch of money. And people sense that, they read it, and they're turned off by it. So in order to make your offer, if you have a coaching or consulting offer in particular, cold friendly, give them a tangible. For example, let's go back to the lawyer example. Let's say you did local hacking. I don't even know what that is. But maybe a component of local hacking is establishing a referral base. Maybe it could be, on your behalf, I'll reach out to every single one case that you've had in the past 5 years, and I will personally set up your referral system with them on your behalf. I don't know. That sounds like a $20,000 offer. You know what I mean? So it's something that like gets you across the line so that it can end up being a pure coaching relationship. But if you're pure coaching at scale, cold, that's tough. Like back to my client Alex, you know, one of the things that he delivers tangibly is it's like, we literally have connections for you in the software industry. You know what I mean? Or another one of my students who went on, he built his business to about $500,000 a month at its peak. And he helps people become appointment setters online. So basically make money by setting appointments for businesses in the DM. And he was like, once we train you, we have a massive network of people that we can connect you with. And that kills it because it's like, it feels like a real thing they're getting. So to make your offer cold friendly, give it a tangible component. People don't really trust, know, or like you generally with ads, unless you're sending them through a long webinar. But even then, you're still a stranger on the internet. Even if they've consumed 3 hours of your stuff, you're still a stranger on the internet. So if you can create something that's like, hey, I'm going to give you this, you know what I mean? That creates a cold friendly offer. Especially the thing that you give them is tangible and it has the perception of speeding up or making more certain the outcome and reducing the risk of not reaching the outcome, okay? So there's that. That point was way easier to communicate than belief ladder. So, fourth component, the human element. This is a great one. So I'll give you an example. Immediately I can give you an example in my other company, which we're growing, how we're using the human element. We run a VSL funnel, so ads to opt in to watch a VSL to book a call. And I actually don't recommend that vehicle unless you're an extremely experienced marketer, honestly. And I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or anything, but I really know ads and I really know funnels and I really know this stuff, so I'm willing to take a lot of risk and make that work. But that's what I do. So they click an ad, they come give us a name, phone, and email, they watch an educational video, some will book a call right off the video, like just today it's 11 a.m. We've gotten like 6 booked calls right off the video, and we should get another 5 to 7 booked calls, maybe 8 booked calls by the end of the day from our phone setting team. And this is what I want to talk about here, the human element. Now, do not buy into the dream of a funnel that runs itself. Okay? Just don't. First of all, people are turned off by that. They want to talk to a person. We are in what so many people in our industry are calling a trust recession. And I really like that phrase, so I've been using it too. And people want to talk to a person, and they want to feel an energy off a person. You know, they want to feel like what they're learning about is like really valuable, and they want to feel that the other person is excited about it too and excited to help people with it. So my phone setting team, there's a particular individual on my phone setting team, his name's Ben, and he freaking loves our new offer, KCCA, right? Which I don't sell here organically at all. I don't talk to you guys about it, I don't sell it, I don't do anything with it here. It is something it's purely out there. It's a totally separate thing. And he'll just call these guys as they come in, and he's a stud. And we just send them through a quick discovery process, and then we either downsell them into something that's like cheaper if they just seriously don't have the funds, or we get them to book a call with our team to explore our full offer, right? And what people seem to think that having people on their team means more work. And here's my objection to that. If you have a great funnel, like if you have like a great offer and great leads coming through, then having people on your team is a serious multiplier. All you have to do is just correct simple like bad behavior, like, hey, you can't make that promise to people, dude. We can't fulfill on that promise, stuff like that. Keep a bit of a culture going, and just enjoy working with good people. Like, bring good people on your team. So the human element's actually pretty easy and fun to scale. People tend to like think that like building sales teams is hard. Having a bad business with a bad offer and building a sales team is hard. But having a decent offer and decent leads, or even a great offer and great leads, human element's really easy to scale. And so there's a couple areas where you can introduce the human element. Setting, which can be done over the DM or just calling leads, right? Calls. There's closing, which is pretty intuitive. People know closing. And then there's also, on the delivery side, coaches, okay? And a lot of people want to keep their, at least in my experience, this might not be you. This might be redundant information for a lot of people on my channel, to be quite frank. I'll move to brand versus case in a sec. But if this isn't redundant information, I'm telling you, what you have to do is crack this thing, and here in a second I'll talk about this thing. And then human element's really easy to scale because the people on your team are excited about it. They want to sell it. They want to make money doing it. If the commission structure is there, they're gonna want to do it. You know. So yeah, I mean, like, don't be that guy who's like, oh, I'm not gonna call my leads, or I'm not gonna text them, or I'm not gonna follow up with them. You know, like engage with your leads, dude. If all you have is a source of leads that are decent, and you're decent at setting and decent at sales, and you have a decent offer, you can scale that to 6-figure months. Honestly, like, it's not that difficult to do. Okay, as like a one-man show, you can do that. All right. So the human element is critical in getting your ads to work because it's this sense of this idea of like an automated system. Like, I don't know, they work. You can do it, but it is so much harder to crack that it's ridiculous, and you miss out on the crazy lever of learning how to do this stuff, learning how to hire, how to train, how to retain, good talent. That's huge. Okay, so let's move into the final point here: brand versus case. Okay, let me just make sure you can still see. Yeah, you can pretty much see everything I've written. Okay. Brand versus case. This is the final point. Kind of a mindset thing here. So brand sales are, again, it would be like a lot of people who sign up for the Kaiser Mastermind. It's like, I like Trey, I like his material, seems legit, I love the clients he's worked with, the results he's gotten, I want help. Brand. That's a brand sale. So my coaches business, or whatever you want to call it, pretty much brand driven. I get some people that come from some ads that we do, but I'm not very heavy on ads. I was pretty heavy on ads about a year ago. But, this business is one of those things where it's more of a passion subject, so I feel like I can talk about it in content and really enjoy the content, and that always gets the best clients anyway, so I kind of said, you know what, screw doing ads for this, I'm going to do most of the content. And I have some low-ticket funnels that, like, break even and just build my audience, and yeah, so just build brand. Now, brand is pretty intuitive. People kind of know what that is. It's like put out content, you know what I mean? And you got to develop a relationship with your audience of who you are, what your offers are, and what the results they've gotten are. If you can build those relationships with your audience, you can drive sales really, really easily. Just human element. Text them, call them, DM them, set meetings, sell. Okay? And you don't even necessarily need to do the cold friendly thing if you're doing brand. Like, people literally just want to learn from you. They just want to learn, and that often can be the case. Now, let me talk about this final thing here. Making a case. This is probably the most important. If you're tuning out in this video, tune back in. Okay, if you're listening to this in your headphones in the gym right now and you're tuned out, or you're listening to it passively while you're working some other stuff, like, I really need you to listen to this. This is gonna be the crux of the cake. This is gonna be what makes you like the most money. Okay, I want you to think about your leading mechanism. Like, remember earlier in the video I talked about funnels were the leading mechanism, the leading idea that Brunson got people to believe in to sell ClickFunnels. I want you to think about making your case like a lawyer, okay? I want you to make your mechanism, your leading idea, to feel so truthful and so legitimate that people can't refute that it works, right? And all they're asking is, do I have the money to buy this thing, right? That's what you want people to believe. And that's what we have with our other business. It feels so legit. Like, we literally, I show live breakdowns of how we sign the clients, how we deliver the services, the content services and everything, and all this stuff. And it's just a fun business to work on. I'm very passionate about it. And what's cool about it is we get to work with Christian men, and that's me, that's my niche, that's who I want to work with. So it's very, very fun. But you want to think about building a case. So when you think about a lawyer who's building a case for their client, what they do is they break all these details down into subparts and subparts to those subparts and subparts to those subparts, they just break it way down, and then they go after individual little pieces and they find ways to build up a story or an explainer that makes it impossible to refute that their way of seeing things is the way that we all need to see things. And so what I want you to do is take some time and be like, how do I build a case? How do I, the recording just stopped for some reason, but how do I sell myself on the leading idea? What would I need to hear to believe in this? And like a great example is like, you know, we came up with the idea in my other business of like, well, let's go ahead and literally from the first cold outbound message to signing the client, like have a timer going and just show how easy it is to get content repurposing clients. Like if you've never made money online, all you need is an editor and you can go out and you can do it, right? It's that, and so we did that. So now we have this like cool thing that we do in our marketing where we're like, look, if you don't believe me, here's how easy it is. We literally, from moment one of starting to send messages to potential clients to signing a client, it's like a 24-hour period. It's that, and it was like an $800 a month client. So it's like, you can't refute that. It's that simple. If you know what you're doing, it's that simple, right? And so what you want to do is build such a strong case, such an airtight case that you eliminate all the questions that somebody would be asking. So you want to think about what questions would they be asking that would be keeping them from believing in my leading idea? Again, with ClickFunnels, it being funnels. What questions are they asking that would maybe keep them from believing in this? And methodically and intelligently break each of those questions down. If you're defending somebody who you know is innocent, you've seen the tapes, you know for a fact, how would you present that to a jury that doesn't necessarily believe that? They don't believe one way or another. They need to be persuaded. And the way you go to a jury is dude, you break it down to its pieces, you explain each piece, you think ahead to the questions that the jury would be asking, and you solve them before they can even ask them. So before they even know that they have that question, you've solved that question. So it's like, for example, like, okay, sounds like it's easy enough to get content connecting clients, but I don't have any social media experience, for example. You know what I mean? Or it would be like, I've never sold something online before. Or it would be like, I don't know what content works. Or it would be like, you know, these sorts of questions. So, you know, methodically in my marketing, we handle a lot of these issues. And I'll use my client, Alex again as an example, because he's just been such a fun recent case study. You know, 20 grand a month to 100 grand a month, literally within 3 weeks of turning his ads on, which is so cool. The case that we designed for his business was so eloquent and so simple. It's like every trade, doesn't matter what trade it is, for the past couple hundred years, the way you get into that trade is you apprentice under somebody. Why have we thrown that out in the software world? It makes no sense. That's the way into the software world. And that's how I got us a $160,000 a year job at Microsoft, right? And that's his story, right? So I want to show you how to get an apprenticeship. So like, here's why apprenticeships work. Here's why apprenticeships are better than traditional training programs. Here's the benefits of apprenticeships and the reasons why every other way that people have tried to get into it haven't worked. Building a strong case for apprenticeships. So if we can build a case for our leading idea and make that case airtight, like if I can build a case for content repurposing, make that case airtight, then the next obvious step is to get my help to implement it. Because I'm probably the first person they've heard about this from. If not, so that would mean I'm the first person that gets to take their business. Or I made a better case than anybody else. So they go with me. Okay? So yeah, I hope this has been a valuable video. You know, I mean, I've learned so much, you guys, from spending as much as I have on advertising, consulting with the clients that I've consulted with on their advertising. And I've got clients that do, you know, 6-figure months purely organic. Like, you don't have to run ads. But if you're gonna run ads, these are some things that if you dial them in, will make you, you know, multitudes on multitudes of money, okay? And I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I would love to hear what your comments and questions are in the comments. And look, if you want to be able to Slack me anytime and just pop me a message, if you want to be able to network with these other clients that I talk about in these videos here, the ones doing multiple 6 figures a month, even some clients that have gone to do 8 figures, you want to join a high quality mastermind group, links in the description for the Kaizen mastermind group. You can book a call with me. I don't have any closers for this business right now. It's just me, okay? And I don't expect you to sign up right then and there, but I do expect you to be open about where your business is at so that I can let you know if this mastermind can potentially help you grow. Pretty much all the client results that I talk about, it's from that mastermind. So we'd really love to have you in it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And look, guys, I'll see you in the next one. And let me know what are the videos you'd like me to make in the comments. See ya.